Olivia Castle. After surviving the bridge collapse, Olivia decides it's finally time to fix her eyesight with laser eye surgery. When she arrives at the clinic, she's clearly nervous and grabs a teddy bear to calm herself down. Once the procedure begins, her fear only gets worse, to the point where she accidentally rips the eye off the teddy bear she's holding. The doctor steps out for a moment to check something, leaving her alone. That's when everything starts going wrong.
Is that supposed to be happening?
Olivia reaches for the remote to stop the machine, but instead drops it, activating the laser while she's strapped in. The machine begins firing directly into her eye. She panics, struggles, and somehow manages to break free.
She might be in danger. No, she's fine. We do this kind of procedure all the time.
For a second, it looks like she might actually survive, but then she steps backward, slips on the small object she dropped earlier, and falls straight out the window behind her. Valerie Lewton. She's alone in her house, completely shaken and paranoid after everything that's happened. Trying to calm herself down, she pours a drink, but doesn't notice that her mug is cracked. As she walks around, alcohol slowly drips everywhere. Eventually, the liquid reaches something electrical, triggering a small explosion. A shard from the monitor shoots out and slices her neck. Now she's bleeding badly. Her house is starting to catch fire, and she slips on the floor while trying to stay upright. In desperation, she grabs a towel to stop the bleeding, but that movement causes a knife nearby to fall, stabbing her directly in the chest. By the time Alex arrives to help, it's already over. The entire scene is just one disaster stacking on top of another.
Hey, Alex.
Frankie Cheeks. Wendy and Kevin pull into a drive-thru and start noticing that something feels off. There are small warning signs everywhere, but nothing obvious enough to act on immediately. In front of them is Frankie.
Hey, come on, pull up!
At the same time, a truck pulls up beside them, blocking Wendy's door, while another truck comes speeding from behind, completely out of control with no driver. Kevin manages to break the window, and the two of them barely escape in time. Frankie, however, stays exactly where he is and takes the full impact when everything crashes forward. Kat and Rory. Kat is driving when her tire suddenly blows out, causing her to lose control and crash. She survives the initial accident but ends up trapped inside the car because a tree trunk pins her in place. Behind her head is a sharp metal pipe, positioned perfectly to turn deadly if anything pushes her back. A young guy tries to help her, but things go badly, and Rory steps in to save him. Firefighters eventually arrive and start trying to free Kat, but instead of carefully working, one of them ignores her warnings and hits the car harder. That impact triggers the airbag, which violently slams her backward, straight into the pipe behind her. And it doesn't stop there. Kat had dropped a cigarette earlier, which leads to a small explosion. The blast sends a section of barbed wire fencing flying through the air, straight into Rory. Billy Hitchcock. After the Flight 180 incident, Billy is one of the survivors traveling with Alex, Clear, and Carter. At one point, Carter completely loses it and parks his car on train tracks, refusing to move as the train approaches. Billy, Alex, and Clear all manage to get out of the car safely. Carter stays behind, acting stubborn, until the last second when he realizes how serious the situation is. He tries to escape, but the car won't start, and he's stuck. Alex manages to save him just in time. Right after that, Billy starts yelling at Carter, calling him selfish and reckless.
That's right! You're next, Carter! I'm staying the away from you!
But in the middle of his rant, a piece of metal debris from the passing train suddenly flies off and kills him instantly. Samantha Lane. She's one of the survivors of the racetrack disaster and later goes to a salon to get ready for a night out. She brings her kids with her, who spend their time throwing small rocks around outside. Inside the salon, everything seems normal at first, but little details start adding up. A ceiling fan looks unstable, substances spill onto the floor, and there are multiple small hazards scattered around. After finishing her appointment, Samantha leaves the salon and heads outside. For a brief moment, it feels like she might have made it through safely. But then, one of those earlier details, the rocks her kids were playing with, comes back into play.
I've got my eye on you two.
Carter Daniels. After surviving the racetrack crash, Carter becomes consumed with anger and revenge, especially after blaming a security guard named George for his girlfriend's death. Eventually, Carter decides he's going to kill George. One night, after drinking heavily, he sets his plan in motion. But being on death's list, things don't go the way he expects. His track suddenly starts moving on its own. As he tries to stop it, he gets caught on the tow hook and dragged along the street. At the same time, fuel begins leaking across the ground. The result? Carter is dragged directly into a fiery explosion. Erik and Bobby. They attempt to outsmart death using two long-standing theories: killing someone to take their lifespan, and briefly dying to reset Death's plan. Erik comes up with a plan. Trigger Bobby's severe peanut allergy while they're already in a hospital, then revive him, but everything spirals out of control. An MRI machine activates, pulling in every metal object nearby. Erik, covered in piercings, is dragged violently into it. At the same time, the situation with Bobby takes a deadly turn as well.
Oh my God. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Brian Gibbons. At the end of Final Destination 2, everything seems peaceful. Kimberly and Thomas believe they successfully escaped Death's plan. They're invited to a cookout where they meet a family, including a young boy named Brian. Then they realize something important.
Brian was almost hit by that news van that day in the field, and your friend Rory, he pulled him back at the last second. Saved his life.
That means he's now part of the chain. The moment they figure it out, it's already too late. Dennis Lapman. Right after the factory accident, Dennis shows up to question Nathan and the others, trying to understand what happened. He has no idea he's already next in line.
Who is it, Sam? Who's what?
And just like that, he goes before he even realizes the danger. Nathan Sears. In Final Destination 5, it's revealed that if someone on Death's list kills another person, they can take over that person's remaining lifespan. Nathan accidentally causes the death of a coworker named Roy. Without realizing it, he inherits whatever time Roy had left to live. At first, this seems like a loophole, a way to escape death, but later, we learn the truth.
Turns out Roy had an enlarged blood vessel in his brain so big, he's about to burst. They said he'd be dead any day now.
So Nathan didn't gain much time at all. Sam and Molly. At the end of Final Destination 5, they believe they've finally escaped death. They board a plane together, ready to move forward with their lives. During the flight, Sam notices an argument happening in the back, but doesn't think much of it at first, until he realizes who it is. The people arguing are Alex and Carter from Flight 180. That's when it hits him. They're on the same plane from the first movie. Sam understands exactly what's about to happen, but there's nothing he can do except sit there and wait.